Hi everyone, thank you for joining us for session IoT 202 for Migrate and Innovate Faster with AWS IoT for Connected Products. My name is Syed Rehan. I'm a global senior IoT specialist, solution architect with AWS, and today I'm joined with two of my customers, Johan Alverberg and Dora Trejek, who are from Blue Air, which is a Unilever brand. So let's begin. In this session, we will go through product innovation and migration. We will look at the challenges customers face in terms of the current products and how they migrate, when they migrate, what the challenges they face on a regular basis. We will also look at customer case studies and reference architectures with some of the other customers I work with on a regular basis. And we will hear the story of Blue Air, how they have successfully launched a product in a very short amount of time. And then we will close with a summary, and that would be all the session. So in terms of product innovation and migration, why customers invest in consumer products? Why should you invest in consumer products? Well, the answer is pretty simple, right? The connected product market is actually growing year by year. We expect to have 125 billion devices by 2030. And we expect to see the revenue grow of connected products devices from 465 billion to 1.3 trillion. And these devices actually have a lot of in terms of connectivity to a IoT, such as your connected router, or camera, or connected machine, or connected anything which is basically connected from a consumer perspective. So let's look at, in terms of where are the companies innovating, the companies which I'm currently working with, the customers, and where are they actually innovating. So I'm working with customers who are actually innovating at home automation, where they're tying up Alexa with connected lights, connected TV, connected fridge, and any sort of connected devices. And then I'm also working with customers who are basically connecting security and monitoring devices, which are giving real-time alerts to customers when they're actually away from their property, to make sure that the logic applied locally on the machines is actually legitimate, in a sense that if you're basically going out of the house, you want to make sure that if there is an alarm, such as if somebody tried to walk in and if it's your relative, and then obviously it's a false alarm, and if it's a burglar, then identify as a valid alarm and raise security alert. Also from networking perspective, working with customers where we have devices which are connected, reducing the lag in terms of router you could look at, which are basically reducing the lag and providing rapid instantaneous connectivity for consumers to either play games online and so on. We can also look at the energy management perspective. From energy management perspective, we have variety of devices ranging from a connected car, which has electricity battery, which is electric driven car. We can also have management of a house, factory, or a property where we have gas, electricity, water, all the utilities which are basically getting energy managed. And finally, we also have customers which I'm working with, which are involved on improving the health and wellness of our customers and end consumers by connecting their devices to improve our life and giving the real-time alerts of our wellness. So let's look at some of the customers where AWS has enabled them to scale the product by migrating to AWS IoT. These are customers ranging from Vizio, Rachio, Philips, iRobot, Panasonic, and Blue Air, who are joining us today, which is a Unilever brand, just to name a few. Some of the comments which I hear from my customers are such as we hear from iRobot or LG Electronics or Traeger, is that when we move to AWS IoT, we have actually removed scalability issues. We have actually improved and saved amount of time it takes for development, and we have also reduced the time the product to go to the market and to reduce the cost of the product when it goes to the market, such as Traeger in this sense, in terms of development perspective, LG is in this sense, and in terms of scalability, iRobot in this sense. So let's look at the virtuous circle and the services AWS IoT provides for our consumers and our customers to basically use. So we will first start with device software. We provide FreeRTOS, which is an open source. We also provide AWS IoT SDK, which you can use and install it on your end devices for consumers to connect to AWS IoT. We also have AWS IoT Greengrass, which is an open source product, and we have Device Tester. These are device side software which we provide, which gives you inherent support, connectivity to AWS IoT. And then we also have connectivity and control services. These are such as AWS IoT Core, which is a core service where all the devices connect to AWS IoT. Then we also have augmented support, which goes hand in hand with Device Defender and device management. These works behind the scenes to make sure your devices are secure, your devices are scaling, and keeping you up to date on the state of your devices. And then finally, we also have AWS IoT Analytics, Events, Sitewise, and Things Graph. These are the services which are providing you analytic services to give you the in-depth view of the data which is coming into your AWS IoT Core from your edge devices to AWS IoT Core, where you look at this and say, okay, you analyze and you basically use these to create report for your BI and for the analysis deep dive perspective. Now let's look at some of the connected products and migration challenges which I have seen working through many customers who have faced it. So one of the first challenge when I basically speak to customers is, okay, well, IoT generates tons of data. What do we do with the data is a key aspect. And then obviously taking the data, removing the noisy data part, and making it as a business outcome for you to succeed in the aspect of things. So one of the first thing I discuss with my customers is that, okay, well, when you look at the data, what are you basically looking at in terms of internal insight? You want to basically understand the usage pattern. You want to basically provide the design optimization, and obviously look at the quality and warranty of the end devices which are in the field. In terms of data for customers, you can give them real-time information of the devices through their mobile apps or Echo devices and so on, and give the customer the satisfaction they are able to control those devices in a safe, secure manner to make sure they understand what the status of the device is. And finally, we could also look at in terms of the business outcome, you could basically use this to upsell your opportunities in terms of the customer actually has one of your devices. You can provide understanding the usage pattern to say, okay, well, the customer is actually using this. It would help you, obviously, if you augment it with this feature, because we can provide you further facilities and upscale your connectivity, i.e., for example, if you have a connected home, you could provide a connected camera to have the augmentation of the connected devices, providing in a single linear manner of you all the connectivity path and the security. The second challenge which I see most of my customer face is, well, when they start, usually it's a new project, the scaling and managing comes a little bit later, because this is where a lot of customers might come back and say, okay, well, we started it and we were running it on EC2. We realized that we couldn't scale it very well. How can we help? And this is where I will basically guide them through in terms of onboarding, monitoring, organizing, and updating these devices by using the features provided by AWS IoT Device Management and Device Defender features, which augment and provide you the scaling as a breeze. And one of the other features which we look at, which comes inherently by connecting to AWS IoT Core, is giving you end-to-end security and privacy. So you have inherent security from cloud aspect of things, device security and health aspects of things, and intellectual property. And finally, one of the things customer come across is, okay, we got devices which are already out in the field. How can we integrate and innovate with the new devices? This is where we work with the customer to help them improve their development path, where we say, okay, well, do you want to have a retro firmware and step-by-step improvement of your firmware to make sure that you are integrating your brownfield devices which are already in the field with your greenfield devices and integrate as a single communication path all the way to the cloud. Now, let's look at some of the customer case studies and reference architecture. So here, we always look at as three segments of IoT architecture. We always have edge devices or end devices. In this case, it could be a sensor, could be a microcontroller unit, or could be edge devices such as a connected factory where we have gateways which are running AWS IoT Greengrass, or we could have a BLE watch or hat strap, or an exercise machine which is running FreeRTOS. And then these devices connecting to AWS Cloud, and leveraging the features provided by AWS IoT as well as other AWS services, and then integrating this with their existing enterprise applications, which could be they have existing data lake, their event management systems, and integrating with their business intelligence systems and end user systems. So common IoT platform migration scenarios, which we typically see on a day-to-day basis, are usually mixed devices, which basically means that we have new features need to be added to brownfield devices, which are devices which are already out in the field. And then we have brownfield devices. These are the devices already in the field, but we want to basically connect it to a new platform without any downtime. And then we also see new generation devices, which are envisioned new devices because you already got brownfield devices and you want to basically bring them to end of life, and you're working on new devices or iteration of these new devices or completely new products by making sure you can leverage the upcoming compatibility and connectivity to the cloud, so you and your team of resources, IT, valuable staff which you have, doesn't have to get down and work on each individual sections of the architecture. You could leverage the power of the cloud and have all your highly valuable resources improving the business and customer experience. Okay, so let's look at mixed devices enhancement. So usually customer comes and say, okay, well, we want to basically innovate in terms of any response. It could be a reaction across the globe, or it could be a rapid turnaround in terms of what the situation the customer is in, or looking at the demand from their end customers, which are asking them to upscale the devices and enhance it. This is where auto scaling, the security, the compatibility, manageability of all their end devices to AWS Cloud and specifically AWS IoT would help a lot, because this is where you're doing lifting and shifting and basically connecting your devices all the way to AWS IoT, and leveraging the power provided by AWS IoT and leaving your highly valuable resources to improve the process improvements and customer business improvement and enhancing those devices. So let's look at a sample, an architecture which I have worked with recently with a customer, where a customer will say, okay, well, we have a protected network, for example, in this case, a hospital, and there is no internet connectivity. And we want these medical devices to connect to AWS IoT for our customer support team and our management team of these devices and our technical support team to know that what is the status of these devices and provide predictive maintenance and prevent failures of these devices. So this is where we have used AWS IoT Greengrass, which we have put in as a small gateway within the environment, and all the connected protected network devices which are connecting through the firewall internally are sending data which are normalized to basically say that the status of the device is turned on, turned off, whether the bulb is going off, or whether there's an issue with the radiology department, or if there's an issue with an X-ray machine, and so on. And these are the small components which are sending the telemetry data to AWS IoT Greengrass. Now, plugging that data with an on-premise application is pretty easy. This is where we work with a customer where they have connected their on-premise application with AWS IoT Greengrass, and they have the complete visibility on the state of the components of these machines. Now, the benefit comes is when we have this telemetry data, which only contains the state of the device, contains the information and the preventive measurement, preventive failure of the devices in terms of predictive maintenance, i.e. is the component about to fail. So these things will travel through into AWS IoT Core. This is where machine learning will be applied using Amazon SageMaker, and the customer will be informed through looking through the AWS IoT events and the back end customer support as well as technical support. So for example, if the machine component is about to fail and it has reached a threshold of near enough as a failure, the team can know on the technical support side and basically can order the parts or automate the order parts by having that sent to a customer support of the machine automatically and have the part delivered and then have the part replaced. So there is no downtime of the connected machine, and the user experience of those users who are coming to hospital or these protected environment actually do not see any downtime, and they have a smooth transition without realizing that this machine was about to fail. Now let's look at brownfield devices migration section. Now in the brownfield devices section, we have often customers saying that, okay, well, we have devices which went out 5 years ago, 6 years ago, 3 years ago, and whatnot. We don't really have any connectivity to this other than BLE or any sort of Wi-Fi connectivity, and we have no way of actually changing that. This is where we help them by working with them on retrofitting a firmware which will say, okay, well, let's work on a firmware which basically adds as a step-by-step feature addition rather than having a complete firmware. You just basically have it as a blanket. And this is where we'll say, okay, if we have a connected gas cooker or fridge and these devices are actually pretty old and the customer had it for a while, what if the customer actually has purchased a new device such as Echo, or they have purchased a oven, or they purchased a microwave, and they basically can have a peer communication between each other, because generally most manufacturers usually do have connection between their peer devices if it's from the same manufacturer. And this is where they will say, okay, well, we have identified they have got a new microwave. We want to basically sync that up and push the firmware out to fridge, cooker, or whatnot, and then make sure they are up to date and understand what's the status of it, and then take the status of the device and basically say, okay, well, we can see that the device has been there for a while, things are about to fail, or things have failed and customer has not gone back in touch with us, and maybe we should offer them to say that, okay, we have realized that this is the issue, would you like us to basically come in and help you and replace it or repair it. So in a situation like this, for example, one of the customer I have worked with, where we have aircraft. I mean, aircraft lifelines are usually 20, 30, even 35 years plus. And in this situation, you always want to make sure that we are keeping abreast with the technology and making sure that we make sure the failure on those components of the aircraft doesn't happen. So in this instance, let's say we have an aircraft which basically have an auto landing system. It sends the data to a connected, tiny, small connected gateway running AWS IoT Greengrass, and it tells you that, okay, I have landed. When I landed, the tire pressure was so and so. The brakes are running thin. Airlon or whatever other components which are used as part of the auto landing system sends the telemetry data to AWS IoT Core. AWS IoT Core works through the data, removes the noisy data part, analyzes the segments of the sections, pushes it through to Amazon SageMaker, and works through the business logic which customer might have in place in the form of step functions or AWS IoT rules or Lambda, and send the information to an engine management health team, or it might send to a flight operation teams, and so on. And in fact, it could actually also work in a situation, for example, if they landed and they have realized that they cannot take a further flight unless the part has been changed, because it's very critical that it may cause failure of that component and could cause disaster. This is where complete setup of these telemetry data works through the system and identifies for the customer to say, hey, engine management team, you got to come in and have a look at this and replace this part, because we are making this void, otherwise the plane would not be able to take off. Or flight operational team, where they have a view to say, okay, what is actually happening with the parts? Is it actually repairable? If not, then we should basically get it ordered. And also work with the emergency support team, where you could say, okay, well, we have a device which is sending us the data, auto landing system, and we want to make sure that this is actually sending us the right amount of data, and we want to basically work with the third-party subscribers, which are your end providers who are providing the parts for you. And this emergency support team can come in and step in and work through your the data output from the telemetry data which we have received from the system, and repair the aircraft to make sure that this problem has been solved. It could be as small as a bulb, or it could be a fuse, could be anything. And making sure to keep on top of this and having a complete insight and view of this matters, and it basically saves life. It basically makes sure that the machine, the airplane, is always flying in 100% fit condition. Now let's look at some of the next generation devices innovation. So some of the customers I'm working with, where they're working with greenfield devices, where they're working with the VR glasses or telemedicine or connected products, which are we are looking into well into a future, which will change our life. The benefits where we get in terms of next generation is that you actually have an unconstrained view in terms of the hardware. How do you want to do the development? How do you actually want to connect it? And how do you want to basically have an iterative enhancement? What is a baseline you want to release the model to go to market with? And then what are the extra improvements you should iteratively add as you go along? So let's look at a reference architecture where I have worked with a customer recently, where they are working with a connected flying security camera, and they might also have connected door locks, and they might also have a connected wearable. So in this situation, all of these devices are working in sync and in harmony, and providing the customer the utmost compatibility. So for example, I'm basically walking out of the house, right? I've locked the door because the door might actually have a thumbprint to say that, okay, I've locked it. It recognizes the thumbprint, sends the connection to my watch to say that the door has been locked, you're safe and secure, you can basically go. Now, at that point, this message goes to a connected flying security camera to say, hey, there's nobody home, the user has just walked out. Arm the system to make sure that whenever you hear noise or breakage or any sort of alarm goes off, basically identify, take a footage of that, and send it to the end user. Now, the complete process works in complete tandem, where you will say, okay, if I'm basically sitting in a dinner and there was a noise, if I don't have a pet, I could say, okay, well, just go ahead and identify what the issue is. So this is where the machine learning part of a connected security camera will automatically come into trigger and say, okay, I have got the notification to say something has heard on the top floor, I need to go and check. So the camera will fly up there and check and take a picture, or in fact send a complete video footage 360 and send it to my phone. Now I could basically get the notification on my watch to say that the video has been delivered, open the app and have a look at it. I can have a look at it and say, okay, well, that happened. Now, evidently, you could also provide extra security features to your customers in the form of such as maintenance stuff, or as well as alarm, 24-hour alarm monitoring. So for example, somebody can come in within a very short notice, such as 10-15 minutes, or in fact inform police that they need to basically come in, there has been a breakage. But having a complete connected system to say which are working as a machine learning models on an individual basis of these devices, and using the data which you have provided to them to say that I'm going out, and the system automatically arms, gives you the upper hand against the theft and deterrent to say that, okay, I know my house is secured, I can go out, these devices are basically monitoring for me, so I can be safe. I could be sitting in a dinner or watching a movie or whatnot, and have this system work for you. Now, having a machine learning models sending you these data are actually very, very valid, because what you could do, you could basically identify this to say that, okay, well, I know that I'm not home, but I expect some of my relative, my friend, or anybody is coming in at this point, and this is where I will say, fine, I expect somebody to come in. I'll basically click on my watch to say that I expect Anthony to come in at this time. Make sure you provide me the notification and enable the camera. And this is where Anthony comes into the door, press the button, you'll know it's obviously it's Anthony. Then you basically allow the user to walk in and sit down. You can enable the security feature of the camera all across the house and have it basically disabled where Anthony is sitting because you trust the person. Now, this part of the machine learning is automated machine learning. This is where the features of AWS IoT Greengrass provides you that constant data and the historic data which your devices capture goes up to the cloud, and the features you provide to end customer and end users to say that, okay, understand, build the model, have the machine learning inference run on your local devices, which are very tiny. It doesn't require heavy amount of GPU and capabilities. You build the model on the cloud and you push it down on Greengrass and you run this. And constant iteration, improvement, enhancement make your life easier, makes your life safer. Now, with that, I'm going to hand it over to Johan and Dora, who are from Blueair, which is a Unilever brand.
Hello, everyone. My name is Dora Terjek, and I am the Global Product Manager for Connected Experience within Blueair. I will be one of the two speakers for this next section, along with my colleague. We both represent Blueair, and we will take this opportunity to educate you about air pollution and what you can do about it. Let's start with a video about Blueair and our heritage.
Blueair was founded on the firm belief that the freedom to breathe is a basic right. Over 2 decades ago, our Swedish founder wanted to ensure his children could breathe the same clean, fresh air inside their home as they did out in the pristine Swedish archipelago. He set out to make the world's best air purifier and to campaign for every child's right to breathe clean air. He invented the unique HEPA silent technology, a combination of electrostatic and mechanical filtration that delivers more clean air with less noise and using less energy than a light bulb. Today, we continue to engineer our award-winning air purifiers in Sweden, designed to create the safest environment for children to develop and grow, while making the least impact on the environment. Trusted by governments, healthcare professionals and families, we improve the lives of millions of people around the world. We will never stop fighting for your freedom to breathe.
I hope you enjoyed this video. Now, let me extend the introduction about Blueair itself. Blueair's purpose is to provide clean air for the next generations. This is the reason we exist and the reason we continue to drive sustainable innovation within air purification. Today, air pollution is the 5th largest factor for death across the world. On top of this, outdoor air pollution has grown 8% globally in the past 5 years. Since 1996, Blueair has managed to improve the indoor air quality for millions of human beings around the world with the help of our air purifiers. A lot has happened over the years, and since 2016, Blueair is a proud member of the Unilever family of brands. Our award-winning air purifiers combine superior performance and low noise with timeless Scandinavian design. They improve the lives of people in over 60 countries worldwide. With this short introduction, I will let Johan take you through some more details on why clean air is so important.
Thanks, Dora. And my name is Johan Alvenberg. I'm the Global Solution Architect. Did you know that we spend 90% of our time indoors, where the air can be up to 5 times more polluted than outdoors? Blueair purifiers provide the best-in-class performance to protect from the negative effects that polluted air can cause. Our products are proven and tested to capture particles as small as allergens and viruses. According to World Health Organization, household air pollution is one of the leading causes of disease and premature death. 9 out of 10 people in the world breathe air that exceeds the World Health Organization guidelines. Particulate matter is a pollution of special concern. Airborne particulate matter is not one single pollutant. It's rather a mixture of different chemical species. The particles are defined by their diameter. Those with a diameter of 10 microns or less are called PM10, and those are inhalable into our lungs. Fine particle matter is defined as particles that is less than 2.5 microns or less in diameter. These ones we often refer to PM2.5. As a reference, a human hair is about 70 microns big, so we're talking about particles that is 7 to 30 times lesser than a human hair. Many studies has demonstrated a direct relationship between exposure to particulate matter and negative health impacts. Exposure to indoor air pollutions can lead to a wide range of adverse health outcomes for both children and adults. Everything from respiratory illness to even cancer. Most harmful particles within the air that we breathe are emissions from combustions of gasoline, oil, diesel, or coal. Besides that, pollution from wildfires and automotive are also contributing to a PM2.5 in the outdoors. Our homes contain everything from dust, cooking fumes, and chemicals, which is released from paint, furniture, and cleaning agents. Add to that polluted outdoor air making its way through the ventilation into our homes, which gives us a cocktail of toxins floating around. Blueair products will reassure you of a virus-free living environment. Our products has been tested by an independent biosafety lab against COVID-19. During 2021, we got the test results, and Blueair Health Protect 7400 series are now certified and proven to kill 99.99% of the live airborne virus. Clean air also have a proven positive health benefits. It can provide asthma and allergy relief, but it can also prevent sickness from bacteria and viruses. And also, it can improve our sleep. Overall, this turns into a boost of our immune system. And according to research, clean air can actually make us smarter. With that being said, let's now have a look at our most advanced product so far.
Now let's have a look at the technology behind Blueair's products. Inspired by our Swedish heritage, sustainability and quality are the heart of everything we do. It drives us to develop products that exceed industry standards for performance without losing sight of sustainability. 3 years ago, we were reimagining the air purification business with an objective to improve indoor air quality for millions of people around the world, keeping in mind technology disruptions new age consumers, and their changing preferences. To achieve this, we needed to solve a few pieces of the puzzle. Firstly, the air purifier needed to become an integral part of the consumer's life by providing relevant features and functionalities. We needed a future-proof, technically advanced, and technology platform. It was also vital for Blueair to be agile and get products out to the market at a rapid pace. And finally, we wanted a solution that would scale geographically to over 60 markets, as well as to millions of customers. With this mindset, we set out a new strategic direction, and now we can see the results of a lot of hard work with our latest air purifiers launched to the market. They are called Health Protect and Dust Magnet. The new cloud platform stretches from industrial design over hardware to cloud and apps. Blueair has innovative features that will feel truly make an impact to the consumers. Here are some examples. We deliver more clean air at a lower noise level while consuming significantly less energy. We also have an advanced feature to kill and prevent the growth of germs, bacteria, and viruses, namely our Germ Shield technology. Our unique air filtration technology removes 99.97% of all airborne particles, including dust, pollen, pad dander, smoke, bacteria, and viruses. We also provide an automated filter replacement service whenever filters need to be changed. And of course, we have enabled voice control integration with, for instance, Amazon Alexa and also other voice assistants. All in all, we have taken a giant step forward and are extremely proud of our latest generation of air purifiers. To take you into more details on our digital technology, I will hand it back to Johan.
Let's go into details how we managed to go from idea to realization and production within a year. All starts in 2019, when we started the architecture and the design work to enable the new platform for our upcoming products. Our targets were clear from the beginning. We wanted to be as high up in the value stack as possible. For us, this meant letting the platform provider take the most responsibility and let Blueair focus on the consumer benefits. The decision was taken to move into a serverless microservice ecosystem, a system built for worldwide deployments in multiple regions. So, why did we take the path of serverless and microservices, utilizing AWS Lambda, IoT Core, and DynamoDB, just to mention a few of them? First, we wanted to maximize the development velocity. The time between idea and launch was extremely limited. The ambition was to set out, build once, reuse, and deploy. Secondly, we wanted to drive a faster innovation to a changing market. We would like to move quicker between an idea to a new consumer-facing feature. It was also important for us to achieve security and compliance by design. Being a brand present in more than 60 countries around the world is a must that we can meet regional compliance regulations and keep our consumers' security and integrity first. Blueair have adopted the reference architecture as an input for our design, and we have been working closely with Syed, AWS Professional Services, and our SI partner in the realization. As you can see from the screen, here's our simplified architecture that made all of this possible. We meet 4 times per year to look into our solution and architecture to understand new trends and new feature releases. This is a key for us to continue grow and still keep consumer needs and security in full attention. We are extremely grateful to be in production since the third quarter of 2020. We have now the foundation to continue scale for the next years to come. Going forward, we will be asking us questions like, what if the air purification could follow you and your environment? Visionary ideas and concept of clean air as you go will be the next future. Let the air that surrounds you and your beloved ones always be crisp and clean. The ecosystems of air purifiers will be much broader. Products around your home today will become a part of the clean indoor air. This involves your smart TV, radiators, fridge, and even your lights. Products that are not energy powered today will also become a crucial part of the ecosystem. They will all contribute to a better living. This includes interior design pieces, chairs, sofas, curtains, and paintings. But most importantly is that it will follow you as you move around in your home, creating clean zones. A safe haven to breathe.
Thanks, Johan, for that glimpse into the future. With that, we hope you got an understanding of the aspects of having bad air quality. Just to sum it up, indoor air pollution can be up to 5 times worse than outdoors and lead to serious health problems. However, there are decisions that you can make to improve it. Remember that the freedom to breathe is a basic right. With this, we are closing this session. Thank you for listening to us.
Thank you, Johan, and thank you, Dora, for joining us for this session. And thank you very much for listening to us. It was a great pleasure to be with you guys. I wish you great reInvent and have a great day.